You see right here from Josh Pate, even he's saying it. The committee members were just continuing every time they spoke in every sentence to contradict themselves. That is the problem that everybody out there has with all of this. These college football playoff committee members, aka nerds, said heading into the season they were going to do one thing and they're currently doing another. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope all of you had a great week. Hope all of you having a great Friday night. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. And man, oh man, guess who we got to talk about in tonight's video? The CFP nerds. AKA, well, y'all know them as the CFP committee, but I call them the nerds for reasons we're about to get into in just a second. But what they just did, it's laughable, to say the least. It's comical, but more importantly, they're making a fool out of themselves. Oh yeah, by the way, I want to throw this in there at the beginning of the video. We are on the road to 400,000 subscribers, so if you're new to the channel, or hey, maybe you've been simply watching and not subscribed, consider subscribing, join our amazing community. We'd love to have you here and help us get a little bit closer to our goal. I meant to talk about this Wednesday or Thursday, so I do apologize. We're a little late to it, but there were so many other topics going on in the college football world that we had to cover. We got the Kiffin saga, the Sarkisian incident. There was rumors about him leaving Texas. There's also rumors that came out late last night or this morning that DeBoer is going to be leaving Alabama. There's been a lot going on, but now it's time to talk about this matter and subject at hand because it's one of the most important things in all of college football. The most recent rankings that just came out, which are the third rankings of the year, I think we can all agree on this, they were the most controversial ones up to date. The two teams that everybody had circled was number 1, Notre Dame, number 2, Alabama. Who was going to get the edge there and who was going to get the nod? As we saw, it was Notre Dame, and we've already talked plenty about that, and we'll talk more about them a little bit in this video as well. And whether or not you think Alabama should be number 9, you think Notre Dame should be 9, here is the whole focal point of what we're about to get into. The committee's logic, it's flawed. And not only is it flawed, it's just terrible logic at that. But before we go any farther, I got to bring this up, and it's not getting talked about because it's not a top 12 or top 15 team, but Tulane was ranked 24th. Why did I bring that up, you may ask? Great question, my friend. I'll let you answer it. Let me ask you a question, actually. What has Tulane done to be ranked as the 24th best team in the nation? Tulane is 8-2. They've played nothing but cupcakes the entire season, and in their 2 losses, they got blown out. They got drumrolled by Ole Miss, 45-10, and also drumrolled by, guess who? UTSA. Let me say it again. UTSA, 48-26. And you mean to tell me these nerds, and that's what they are, these nerds, these dorks, got up in this conference room and was like, yeah, this is a top 25 team. My brother in Christ. Are we for real? I've seen a lot of bad rankings, but this one right here may take the cake. How do you come to the executive decision that Tulane should be number 24? How? Tulane's average at best, and if you're sitting there saying, oh, Matt, you tripping, cuh, you hating, cuh, you just hating on Tulane, cuh, I fear you might say that. Well, guess what? Those aren't even my words. That's coming from their head coach. He said it, not me. I'm reading this off word for word. John Summerall stated, and I quote, we're an average team. I watched this practice today. We're average. If we're a top 25 team, there must be a lot of bad football going on. Do you know how bad it is when the head coach of a team is saying that? When the head coach of a team ranked inside the top 25 is saying we're average and we shouldn't be a top 25 team, that's when you know it's bad. Some people may not like this, saying, oh, well, he's putting down his own team. No, he's not. He's living in reality. And this isn't any information that the players don't already know. They know they're not great. They know they're not even good. How do you beat cupcakes, get blown out in 2 games, and sneak into the top 25? I don't get it. And it's not even like, oh, I don't get it. Neither does the head coach. I can't harp on that and emphasize that enough. While I got this pulled up, let's take a look at this. So actually, you know what? Let me read it off word for word. College football playoff chair Hunter Yurchek said the way Texas A&M played in the second half of the comeback win over South Kakalaki neutralized the bad that was displayed in the first half. Said A&M did not look like the number 3 team in the country in the first half, but looked every bit the number 3 team in the country in the second half. Now, why is that ironic, you may ask? Because in the same interview, he also critiqued Alabama for having to come back against South Carolina. Do you see the hypocrisy? Do you see the double standard? So he's giving A&M credit for coming back against South Carolina, but he's critiquing Alabama for having to come back against South Carolina. And Bama played them on the road. Look, I don't have a problem if you're going to critique Alabama for struggling against South Kakalaki. Don't have a problem at all. But you have to keep that same energy for other teams like, in this case an example, Texas A&M. If you're going to hold Alabama to the fire for struggling with a not-so-good South Carolina team, you got to hold Texas A&M to the fire. But they're not doing that, and Hunter Yurchek also stated the reason they moved Alabama down so far, the reason Alabama is ranked behind Notre Dame, is because they're struggling to run the football. What? Since when is that a metric? Do y'all not understand how dumb that sounds? In other terms, he was saying, yeah, we don't care that you have 4 top 25 wins. You're struggling to run the football. So, yeah, we got to move you behind Notre Dame. Like, what? We talked about this a little Wednesday. I'm going to piggyback off of it a little bit. The other main reason Alabama is ranked behind Notre Dame is because of their quote-unquote really bad losses. That Florida State loss is terrible compared to Notre Dame's losses to Texas A&M and Miami. But here's my dilemma with that. You didn't really care about the Florida State loss even last week, so why do you care about it now? Do you see what I'm saying? They never brought up the Florida State loss before this week, ever. And they had Alabama ranked inside the top 4. But since Alabama lost to Oklahoma, you're now bringing up the Florida State loss? I mean, come on, man. What are we doing? What are we talking about? And also, that was in week 1. Alabama didn't even have film on Florida State. And I'm not trying to make excuses for Alabama. Alabama didn't play good in that game, and they got dominated from start to finish. It really wasn't even close in the second half. But here's my whole dilemma with the committee. They said heading into the season, they were going to value strength of schedule. They were going to value strength of record, and they're not doing that. They don't care how hard your schedule is, and they don't care who you beat. It's all about how you look in the games and who you've lost to. That is the problem that everybody out there has with all of this. These college football playoff committee members, aka nerds, said heading into the season they were going to do one thing and they're currently doing another. And it just seems like to me they're trying to cherry pick and come up with a reason to rank Notre Dame ahead of Alabama. Why are we talking about the losses? How come we're not talking about the wins? I just can't get over the fact how the committee is trying to cherry pick reasons as to why they should devalue Alabama. I have never heard the committee since it got started in 2014, since we've been doing the 4-team playoff, talk about, well, we didn't have a team ranked here because they have been running the ball really well. What? You see right here from Josh Pate, even he's saying it. The committee members were just continuing every time they spoke in every sentence to contradict themselves. And it'd be different, right, if Notre Dame had 1 loss, but they got 2, and so does Alabama. And you see the strength of schedule and strength of record right here. It's not even comparable. It's Alabama by a mile. We did make a video a couple days ago. Let's check out some of those comments. I haven't looked at the comment section, so we'll read off a couple, see what you guys are saying. What teams should learn from this year is to play as cupcake a schedule as possible. Undefeated, even though you didn't beat anyone, is much better than having a couple of losses but having multiple ranked wins. Bravo, my brother, bravo. You want to talk about hitting the nail on the head. This is amazing. This is one of the best takes you're ever going to see. Shout out to you. I've said this for years. No independent team should ever make the playoffs. If you're not in a conference, then you have, quote unquote, no money in the game, and you do not deserve a chance at the Natty. Interesting take. What do you think about that? Look, my stance on this has been evident and clear from day one. I want Notre Dame to join a conference because it just doesn't seem right that they're not a part of one. And I don't want to say it's not fair, but you know what? Let me not even get started on all that. To make a long story short, playing a tough schedule, it's pointless. Absolutely pointless. And it is frustrating because, yeah, the committee tell us heading into a season, oh, strength of schedule is going to matter. Come to find out, it doesn't. Meanwhile, things I could say, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. But